Have you always been that sort of character, like in your life? Were you growing up where you were like having sort of like deeper conversations, more meaningful conversations with people? Or is it like a thing that you were just like, it kind of came about just because of the hair cutting thing?
Yeah, I've always kind of been that person to carry that energy, trying to bring some sort of positivity and drive to what we were doing. I saw early with a lot of things that I was first in love with, first being skateboarding, wanted to be a pro skater. And like, if it's either pro or I'm not doing it at all, or running track and either I'm going to college or I'm not going to do it at all, or I'm going to box.
That's how you took everything.
I took everything like that. And I brought that energy from my circle a lot. And I saw responsibility for having so much wisdom being young, because it's, it's a blessing to me, man. I'm so grateful for the way that I speak and the way that my mind works. And I take responsibility for that to try to be the change I want to see for my generation.
Now, so you talk about like having that ability. Has that been learned? Was it a learned thing, or is it like what essentially what I'm trying to understand is like, what have you, I guess, gone through in your your younger life that you think put you or gave you this sort of mental clarity? Because it's not like a normal thing. And even people who go through tons of stuff, sometimes they're just maybe not as well adept to like figure it out or piece together the pieces so that you can, put together a well thought out idea around what you've gone through, right? Because all these kind of conversations and things that you're able to say, you could tell. I mean, I watch a lot of your stuff. There's not tons of edits. It's like it's real. It's pretty raw. So it's like for it to come from a place of like in this conversation right now, it's just a genuine spot. It means it has to be something that really resonates actually with you. Otherwise, you'd be like, oh, I got to sound like this. I got to say this. Hopefully they get me when I talk like that. And you're just kind of like, it's free.
Yeah, there was a lot of confliction in the beginning. Of course, I think I got a natural talent to speak. I've always been really good with my words, really good with people. And those were skill sets I found early on from, working in a restaurant. It was like my first job. First I was flipping sneakers, but then I got a job at 15 washing dishes because I'm like, I was flipping sneakers and this shit just was getting dangerous. People trying to scam me left and right. I wanted to make sure I had like security. So I got this job at a restaurant that was in front of my house, and I was washing dishes at 15, cooking at 16 in the back of the kitchen, serving at like, 17, 18. And when I got to be a server, it's funny because it's such a similar job to what a barber is as well. People coming through the restaurant, and I got to learn how to speak to every table because I want all of them to tip me. I need this money. I need to make sure that everybody that comes in to sit with me knows that they feel comfortable talking to me with whoever it is. I don't know who comes in the restaurant, but I also don't know who would come into the barbershop. Like, I'm ready to accept whoever's at my table. Concept, I got a lot of, just speaking to different types of people, and a lot of those skill sets came early through that. But then, of course, you got to put 10,000 hours into anything that you feel like you want to do, like to this extent. So there is a moment in my time where, I've gone through a situation where I was, all right, let me tell you this story. All right.
Yeah.
I was an educator for a clipper company called Vicblends Pro, and I remember we had this retreat one day where we would have this team retreat where all these barbers that work on this team, ambassadors, would get together in Miami and hang out, and it was just, we would work as a team building for the weekend, and we all had to say a speech. Not all of us, but 3 of us. And during this time, I'm trying to do motivational videos because I have such an interest to it. And I saw the power of how somebody can make you feel just talking raw with no music, no nothing, just this dude's going to speak and he captures my energy. And I love that. I found that early on, trying to motivate myself and finding those speakers online. So, we get to this elevator speech that all the team nominated these 3 people to do.
Yeah.
And I'm one of the 3 people, and I'm going last because, Vic's the youngest. He going to speak or whatever. So my 2 guys go before me, and they kill it in front of the whole company, corporate there, the team there. And I'm only I think 19 at the time, 19. And I think in my head, I'm the best speaker because I just got passion for it, right? I got the passion. I felt like I'm good with my words. I think I got good vocabulary, and I just thought I had it. And I go and do this speech. And it was just they said, do a speech on anything that you want to talk about. And I was like, I don't really know what I'm going to talk about.
Do you remember any bits of the speech?
Yeah, there's a video of it somewhere. Well, let me tell you how this goes. So, they're like, write whatever you want, talk about whatever you want. And, I'm just putting shit together on a fucking piece of paper, just, whatever it is that come to my mind. And I get up there, I probably get through my first intro, which was about myself. But then when I had to get to the real shit to talk about, I froze.
Yeah.
And I froze for 10 minutes. And you got to imagine 10 minutes of quietness and I'm looking at a room.
Wait, they let the room go quiet for 10 minutes?
Everybody watch me.
For 10 minutes?
For like 10 minutes.
Holy shit, that's a long ass time.
It's a long ass time to be standing in front of like a group of people like that.
That's
and,
like I heated up fucking
a couple
rice.
people like, like Vic, like, you got it. Like, come on, man. Like trying to clap me up. And I'm like, I'm stuck and there was a real moment where I saw like, for one, I'm not as good as I think I am. Like there's people that fucking work on this way harder than me. And then two, I'm never talking about some shit that isn't real to me again. Like I'm never making some fake ass shit up again. One of my favorite rappers is Jadakiss, and he has a song called Things That I've Been Through. Yeah. And he says specifically in that song, I can only speak on the things that I've been through. Yeah. And I was like, that's why it's not working for me, man. Like I'm inspired and like in my heart is in the right place when I'm looking at other people speak and talk motivation, and I'm just repeating the same things they're saying because I think it's working for them. And I'm like, I'm young. I just want to like get into this so bad, and I want to have like such big impact one day. And I had to go through my lesson of that. So after I choked in that speech, the next day I flew back home, and they told me about like Toastmasters. Like you could join Toastmasters and work on your public speaking for like, a couple bucks a month, and you'll go there and start to work on like what it is to speak and what that looks like. And the day that I landed, I landed at 4:00 back home in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And like there was a Toastmasters meeting the same night at like 6:00. I drive straight home and I go to the same meeting the same night, and I go consistently for like the next year, just like working on what it is to like present something and speak.
Did it actually help you say?
I think it helped a lot, maybe not. So like, I can't tell you a specific like thing out of that class where like, oh, this helped change, but I got around people who were also like interested in speaking. Like, what does it mean to like capture attention? Is, there's some technical aspect to it. Wanting to be a good speaker, getting your message across, because you could just have a lot of really good shit to say. And I think a lot of people have good shit to say, but don't really know how to say it.